Hold on, let me. No, I think I'm good. Maybe. I'm Lauren Post, and I'm a multimedia artist. I work primarily in video and photo, mostly video lately, but I've also been dabbling in sculpture, and yeah, that's kind of an installation, a little bit of that too. Okay, so probs GPOY but IDK. It means probably gratuitous picture of myself, but I don't know. Is kind of an exploration of vulnerability and how far I can sort of take things with the camera. It gets a little bit narcissistic, I would say, but I'm kind of okay with that, just like toying around with like whether or not I'm like being vulnerable or being narcissistic. So that's something that I'm really interested in my work. All of my work is self-portraiture. Most of it takes place in my bedroom, and that's been sort of consistent throughout my practice unintentionally. Yeah, so there's various videos. There's videos of me crying, videos of me laughing, videos of me trying to show power, and various installations. Yeah, so the caboodle piece that I did is in reference to the Malleus Maleficarum, which is a book that was targeted witches during the witch craze. It was written to sort of seek out witches and be able to kill them, essentially, which resulted in mass murders of women. But there's a specific piece in the Malleus that's describing how the author, believed that witches would steal men's penises and keep them in nests and feed them oats and keep them as pets. So I thought that was really funny and decided to make my own version of that with the caboodle and glittery foam dicks, which is not the same, but I don't know, I thought it was really funny. I try to keep humor in my work too. That piece is in reference to a piece that I also did, the video with the list of names, that is in reference to Tracy Emin's work. She did a piece called Everyone I Ever Slept With, and that included like everybody, not just people that she had sex with, but I sort of pared it down, and it was kind of like targeting the guys that I had been with sexually, but it wasn't meant as a jab or anything, just sort of like an endurance thing. In the video, I'm trying to smile for a span of 10 minutes, which is like time lapse, but it's impossible to do that. So yeah, it was really challenging, and so it was a lot about endurance. And then that piece spiraled into a piece that was a reference to Chris Burden's shoot, the piece where he got shot in the arm in the gallery as a performance. So I sort of did that same thing. It's a triptych called The Hills, so that's like the main focus of the show, I would say. The tornado piece is called Me IRL, or Shitty Tornado. It's definitely a self-portrait. I am not the best sculptor, but it is something that, you know, I embrace and try to work with anyways. So I had been struggling with this crinoline tubing that I was insistent on making into a tornado, but nothing was going as planned, and you know, I talked about it with multiple people and it was just not working out as a piece. So finally, I kind of let go of trying to make it perfect and turned it into this sort of blob, which I felt ended up being more like me, I guess, than like a perfect tornado would be, because I don't know, like a shitty tornado makes more sense for my personality, I guess. So there's the crinoline in the front, and then the object, or the painting behind it, is a more like concrete version of a tornado. And then there's flowers coming off of the lighting that I'm using, which I consider to be a third tornado. So it's kind of like the three chairs piece as well, which I had in my head when I was making it. But yeah, I don't know, tornadoes have been definitely Something that has stuck in my mind all my life, my favorite movie is Twister, which I know is really cheesy, but it is. And I was actually in a tornado when I was 3, so there's a large gap in my childhood that I don't remember a lot from, just because of how traumatic that was for my family. So it's in my dreams, it pops up in my work, it pops up everywhere, I feel like. And it was the first time that I've really executed it, and I feel pretty good about that piece, the way that it turned out, for sure. So Mutant Brain was the first piece that I executed within the show. It is a video of me in front of the Kenzo ad that Spike Jonze made for perfume. And I was obsessed with that video and that song when it came out, and I love Margaret Qualley. She's the actor slash dancer that's in the film. She's also in The Leftovers, which is another one of my favorite shows. Popular culture really impacts my work a lot, I would say. But yeah, so I became fascinated with this dance that she was doing, and the video is much longer than just the dance. There's this, it's like kind of the trope of like bored girlfriend, like, but that's not what I was interested in. I was more interested in just like the specific dance that she was doing. So I tried to replicate it in my bedroom with like 3 feet of space, which is impossible to get it right, even if I had tried to like perfectly. But this sort of idea that like, I mean, there's a humor there, but it's also, I don't know, just kind of things that like women do when they're by themselves. I was trying to capture that, and I know from speaking with friends, and I do this on my own, like I make up dances. I've done that since I was a little kid, but like putting on videos and trying to replicate like what Beyonce's doing, or I just became fixated with the Spike Jonze ad in particular. Because it's very crazy and the song is really intense, and it was sort of speaking to my the mentality that I've been going through with grad school. It's just like constant going, constant like craziness. So that's kind of where that came from. So I have this like strange relationship with one-liners, and because I love them, but also like don't know how to like hold them up. I feel like in my work, but I was really frustrated one day because I had been making this very serious work that was like intense, I feel like, for people, and it did not get reviewed well, and so I was like, I should just sugarcoat everything, and then I ended up making the sugarcoat that I made for the show, and it ended up being one of my favorite objects, honestly. I don't want to wear it because it's like become this like thing that I feel I don't want to screw it up. I don't want it to like get like damaged or anything, which is really funny because it's like supposed to, it kind of is like, it kind of wraps up the show, I feel like, because you know, I'm doing all of these like things like dancing naked or crying or yelling, all of these different things, and then like you have this sugar coat when you enter the room, so it's kind of like a safe thing for the viewers, I guess, to like use and like have in the back of their mind that like, I don't know, it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek too, I guess. But yeah, that's that piece. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do is show for women that it is okay to be vulnerable, it is okay to be sad, it's okay to have a wave of emotions that are uncontrollable, and you know, especially if you're going through an intense situation like grad school has been for me, I think that embracing this and sort of embracing the idea that like, you know, mental health is important, and like people sort of like push that under the rug, at least, especially where I grew up, that's not really taken seriously. And I feel like just like embracing all emotions is like really important to me, and I definitely I'm not afraid to show emotion, especially on camera. It's not ever been an issue for me. So that's kind of a sum of what I was trying to do.